Welcome to the final episode of YEGMS for 2016. This is a special episode because I had a chance to talk with Patrycia Rzechowka, who is the official spokesperson of the Johnson MS Bike Tour, Leduc to Camrose. So stick around. So this is the final episode of YEGMS for 2016. Coincidentally enough, it's the 10th episode. I'm surprised that I've gotten up to that many. But I've come to really enjoy podcasting. It's definitely something that there's a certain level of catharsis in it for me. So yeah, this is episode number 10, and it's a special episode because I got a chance to speak with Patricia, who is an amazing spokesperson for people with MS. So very pleased that she took the time to take my call and be on the podcast. It's kind of been an interesting week for me, reading about different things, health-related things, and I'm sort of, I have to admit, I was a bit annoyed because it seemed like every time I looked at a news story online or saw something in the news, it seemed like there was another run of, well, you really shouldn't eat that, you shouldn't take that, you shouldn't do this, that, and the other thing. And as many people who listen to this podcast probably already know, definitely anyone who reads my blog would know, I eat a modified paleo style diet. And interestingly enough, I just caught a glimpse of a flash of an article title online, and it was talking about how almonds are probably not the best idea to be consuming in large quantities. And then about a day later, I saw that most of the vitamin supplements that people take are completely useless. And then about a day after that, I saw that omega-3 supplements probably don't do anything either, and the ones you're taking are probably rancid. Well, I do eat almonds, I do take vitamins, and of course, one of the supplements I take is omega-3s, and I went, is there anything you can do that they're not eventually gonna, everybody's they, but that some researchers not gonna come up with and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And I have to admit that it's frustrating because you just never know. And as somebody who publishes stuff online, I always give links to things that I read because I think it's important that people research stuff for themselves. But I can say that I have been, unlike a lot of MSers, I've been supplementing with vitamin D since 2008 probably. Since a couple, probably 8 or 9 months after my diagnosis. And I've always taken fish oil, again, since I've been diagnosed. I also take cinnamon every day. I try and take B vitamins every day. And then as my wife and I were talking about this stuff, I have this little basket that holds all my vitamins in that. And she said, well, how? And then she looked at one of the supplements that I take is calcium and magnesium supplement. And my wife works in a health profession, and she said, those magnesium and calcium pills, they can build up in your system. So you shouldn't take too much. And it's just weird how it all kind of came together. It all kind of coalesced at the same time. And I went, oh, geez. Here's another stuff I shouldn't take. And I did read through some of the articles, and I'm definitely cutting back on the supplements that I take. But since I've been taking vitamin D and omega-3 since the beginning, and I've done well, I can't actually make the link and say it's because I've been taking these things that, I haven't had the progression that some other people have experienced. But I definitely have decided to tone it down. And yeah, I mean, it's just, you never know what you're going to read next. I mean, I'm really hoping for the day where some researcher comes up with a study where they can prove that bacon is amazing for you, because that's the study that I want to see. That bacon is amazing and it should be in everything, and that maple syrup should be in everything. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to see those things happen, but c'est la vie. It is what it is. And I, kind of switching gears. I've obviously I'm in the middle of training again for the Really Long Run 2016. I'd say I'm about a month in of the really dedicated training, maybe a month and a couple of weeks. And I'd love to tell you that it's been going amazing. But until the last 2 days have been really good. My pace is finally where I want it to be, and so that is really encouraging. I mean, I ran 10K today, and I managed to run solid the whole time, no hiccups, and I held a really good pace for 90% of it. Yesterday I ran 5K, and again, same thing. So, and I enjoyed it today, and that's always the biggest sign, is that I'm finally turning that corner where when I go to the track, I hate my life, and now all of a sudden I'm starting to enjoy it, and that usually means that the body's starting to acclimate itself to the training, and so anyways, a really positive sign. So I'm looking forward to that. It's always tough coming into December, because there's always an excuse to eat something you probably shouldn't. I know for the week of Christmas, and we're going to be at my in-laws, and then for New Year's with my family we've rented a cabin, and there'll be lots of wine and lots of goodies and that around. So I'm just going to have to be vigilant and try and moderation, I guess, would be the best way to approach that. But it's the end of another year, and it's been a eventful year. It's been a life-altering year for myself, obviously, with the Really Long Run, and then getting more involved in the larger MS world. I mean, I had my little blog that was on the fringes of the world of MS. I mean, the podcast is too. I mean, it's not the average podcast gets somewhere between 75 and 100 listens. So in the first month that it's online, so it's definitely not earth-shattering numbers by any stretch of the imagination. But between the Really Long Run, the podcast, getting more involved with the MS Society, and getting more involved with the MS community as a whole, I mean, it's definitely been it's been a good experience. It's been affirming. It's been life affirming, and it's if I could become independently wealthy and pursue philanthropy as my vocation, as my what I would do day to day, that would be pretty amazing, because it's humbling, and it's inspiring, and it's it's like having kids. It gives you a purpose. It gives you a reason for being. Few of us are fortunate enough to work in jobs where we can really make a difference. So for me to do it as a hobby is it makes everything kind of worth it. So and on that note, last week and the week before, it was kind of interesting, and I mentioned this on the last podcast. Not quite 2 weeks ago, I got an award from the Association of Fundraising Professionals. It was a luncheon that was held at the Shaw Conference Center in downtown Edmonton. There was about 800 attendees. I don't know offhand how many award winners there was, but there's quite a few. And I'm not normally one that likes the spotlight, which I sometimes just prefer to to fade in the background. So fortunately, I didn't have to talk, and I actually, everybody in the health category, because that's the category that I got the award for. I don't know how many award winners there were in the health category. We all went up on stage together to accept our award or whatever, and I would say there was about 20, and then there was, I don't know, probably almost 10 different categories. So there's quite a few award winners. Like, by no means was it this luncheon about me. It was just, I was invited to go to accept an award, which the MS Society nominated me for. But it was great because I got to take my mom, and she deserved a lot of recognition. She deserved recognition, and because she is a big reason why the really long run happened, and will continue to happen, because she donates a lot of her time to just getting it organized, and the little details and for me, the little details are always the what I struggle with. And then last week, so I think it was last Thursday. It was last Thursday night, so almost a week ago. The MS Society had the Johnson MS Bike had their Dinner of Champions, and what that was for is for people who rode in the Johnson MS Bike who raised, I think you got invited if you raised at least $1,000, and then there was awards there. So I was given an award for being the fourth highest individual fundraiser, because of the really long run. All the proceeds of the really long run went to my Johnson MS Bike Tour team, and we managed to raise just a hair over $23,000, which put me in the fourth spot, which was amazing. I mean, it was a really amazing support. And then later in the evening, they recognized any rider who had raised over $10,000. And my guest tonight was another person who got the second award, because she raised over $10,000. And so and her story is Patrycia is the official spokesperson for the Johnson MS Bike Tour, and I got to know her at the bike tour, leading up to the bike tour last year, and then at the bike tour, and we've exchanged text messages and tweets and things over the subsequent months since then. And she gave a speech last year at the dinner, on the Saturday night dinner, after the first day of riding at the bike tour. I think there was few dry eyes in the house. I mean, it's rare that you hear a speech that is very perfect, and it was perfect. It was spot on, and she jokes about it in the interview, which you're going to hear, and she even said like she doesn't know how she's going to top it, because it was very impactful for a lot of people, including myself. So I was very, very happy when she agreed to talk to me and be on my little internet show. So here it is, my interview with Patrycia Rzechowka, the official spokesperson for the Johnson MS Bike. So I'm talking on the phone with Patrycia Rzechowka. Did I say that right?
Yes, that was really good.
She is the spokesperson for the Johnson MS Bike, and she was gracious enough to speak with me for the podcast. So, Patrycia, thank you very much for doing this.
It's my pleasure.
The first thing I wanted to ask you, and it's something I ask pretty much everyone who has MS who comes on the podcast, why don't you tell us your story, how MS started in your life?
Okay, well, so pretty much for me, it started with my left eye. And it started with kind of discomfort and then pain. And then it went blurry, and then it went completely blind.
How long did that last for?
Scary. Well, it took about a week to go like completely blind, and then that lasted probably a week or so, and then I went on steroids. Wow. And it slowly got better, but it stayed blurry for about 5 months.
And was it in both eyes or just one?
Just the one.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of optic neuritis as well, but I never went blind. I can't say that I ever went blind in one of my eyes. So anyway, sorry, please continue.
Yeah, it was interesting because like I was looking at something, and then all of a sudden, I closed my right eye and I couldn't see.
Wow. And then did you develop any other symptoms, or was it just the neuritis?
You know what? When I did have some eye pain and blurriness a few years before, and they just kind of said, if it happens again, let us know. And I also have a hypothyroid, so I probably did have fatigue, and I just didn't notice it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was, it's just my thyroid. So. But after the eye, I was pretty stable, other than the side effects from the steroids.
And how about now?
I had a bit of a blip with my eye again, same eye, about exactly a year ago. And it all it did this time was go blurry.
Yeah.
And the fear this time was that it was gonna stay blurry, and by some miracle, I'm probably back at about 98%. So.
And do you have any other physical symptoms, or is it just in the eyes?
Yeah, I have pain. It's kind of like almost like a burning pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of lose feeling in some of my fingers on my left hand and then my left toes. I had a little bit of an issue with my calf where I lost feeling, and then I get tremors and kind of restless legs at night.
Wow. And how long have you been diagnosed for?
Since pretty much January 2012.
Oh, so you're almost 4 years in.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how has it impacted your life since? I mean, obviously there was the lead up to being diagnosed, but how has the disease impacted you?
Well, it actually hit me pretty hard because I had always dreamed of being a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got the diagnosis, I pretty much figured that was it, right?
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I still tried to apply, and I kind of took my physical activity down to I guess like a lower level, less impact,
Mm-hmm.
and tried that for a while, like yoga, cycling, and then I kind of decided that I wanted to start pushing those limits and seeing what I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I exercised, the better I felt.
Yeah, I find that myself.
And, yeah. So it kind of changed my attitude, and it kind of changed my perspective, because now I just I really try and live every day to the fullest.
Yeah. It's it sounds, I mean, your experience sounds similar to mine. Like your symptoms were similar. I mean, I didn't have a completely blind eye, but my right hand was always numb. I do get some numbness in my fingertips on my left hand, and my feet went numb, permanently numb 2 years ago probably. But other than that, I can still move around, and exercise for me is when I'm not exercising, that's when I'm not doing well. But I kind of found, but the question I want to ask you is, I kind of find that there's a lot of things I took for granted before I got diagnosed, and before this MS became part of my life. I mean, I actually just had my 9-year MS anniversary on Remembrance Day. So,
wow.
But what I found is that since the diagnosis, I'm actually a healthier person, if that makes any sense. I mean, I actually try and watch what I eat. I exercise regularly, where before, I mean, I smoke, I drank, I was out all night.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you say it. So is that kind of similar for you? That not maybe the drinking and the partying that I experienced, but I'm just saying that. But is that sort of similar for you?
Yeah, I just before, like, I kind of didn't really make exercise a priority. Didn't try to sleep the greatest. Right? It just wasn't the healthiest lifestyle I probably could be living, and it kind of was definitely a wake up call.
Yeah. Now the next thing I want to ask you about is, have you made any sort of lifestyle modifications, or are you on any sort of treatment, or like how are you handling that part of your disease?
It's funny because that's kind of a hot button issue, I guess, in my house.
Oh, okay.
Just because I've gone to different seminars, and I sat on the research panel that reviewed upcoming research projects, right, that were being funded, and I'm very interested in all of it, and I keep up with it. But I'm having such a hard time, A, picking one, and B, kind of convincing myself that some of the side effects that are like kind of scary for me, and especially since I didn't do so well on the steroids.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of scared that it might be worse than any of the MS symptoms I've had so far. But it's definitely something that I am thinking about constantly.
Well, no, it's funny that you say that. I mean, and I think one of the times that we spoke, you actually touched on that a bit.
Yeah.
It's just interesting for me because when I first got diagnosed back in officially diagnosed in 2007, I refused to take any meds for. I didn't start on any meds until 2010. Actually, it was 2000. No, sorry, it was 2011. And the reason why, and I don't know if this is for you, but you read the information they give you, and the first one they always want to start you on is some sort of beta interferon, whether it's Rebif or Copaxone or Avonex or one of the other ones. But you read the literature and you go, well, so it doesn't. I mean, they say right in there it doesn't work for everyone, right? And then you look at this list of side effects and you think, all right, so I'm going to be giving myself a needle every morning. And I may feel like I have the flu, or the list of side effects goes on and on. And what changed it for me is my wife and I had our first child, and that was the kick that I needed to do it. So believe me, I and even there are even days now where I wonder, but because it's, I mean, when you read medication and then you read the information and they basically say this doesn't work for everyone, you kind of wonder about it. But now, what I really wanted to talk to you about, I get that. The reason why I ask about your history in that is that with talking to people that have listened, a lot of people get a lot of solace in hearing people with similar stories to their own.
Yeah.
But you're different than most people I talk to. Well, actually, everyone that I've spoken to on the podcast so far. In so far as you're a local MS celebrity, being that you're the spokesperson for the bike tours. So.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, come on. And that's really where I wanted to go next. Was how did you get involved with the MS? Like, how did the whole Patricia's now the spokesperson for the bike tour thing come about?
You know what? It was probably right after I was diagnosed. I really didn't want to tell anyone, like my closest friends, anyone, anything. And I kind of hid for a while, and I thought everyone was going to look at me like I was different or feel sorry for me. And I kind of took a step back and saw the support that I had from my family and from my friends when I finally told them. And I realized that there's a lot of people that have MS or other issues that don't have the support that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was being diagnosed, like in the process, I kind of started thinking about MS because I didn't really know all that much about it. And I remembered the bike tour. And I said, you know, whether I'm diagnosed or not, I'm going to ride in that bike tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ride for as long as I can if I do have it. So after that point, I looked at it and I was like, you know what, if people look at my situation and don't want to be my friend or treat me differently, then, you know, I really want them in my life anyway?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of wrote out what I went through with the diagnosis and the blindness and, you know, really candidly, and so that people would understand, and put it on social media, put it on my bike tour page, and I had an overwhelming response. And then, you know, after my first bike tour, I guess I was on the MS Society's radar.
Mm-hmm.
And I had gone in there, you know, to get information just about the MS Society in general after my diagnosis. And, you know, for bike tour information. And then I kind of put it out there, too, that, you know, I wanted to be as involved as possible because there's really no point in feeling sorry for myself. Like, sitting at home and being sad isn't going to do anything for anyone, especially me. So I took it to a whole different level and said, you know, I want to help as many people with this as possible, whether it's awareness, money, being someone that they can talk to, because, you know, I meet people on the regular that are just diagnosed that just want to talk to someone. So, you know, it's just, I had the time, I guess, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, since I wasn't, you know, my criminology degree wasn't going to make me a police officer anymore. So, and I had the support of my family to be able to volunteer with the MS Society, and just kind of went from there.
Well, yeah, and I one of the other things I wanted to ask you about is your speech last year at the on the Saturday night of the bike tour.
Yeah.
I gotta set the stage for you here. One of the guys I was riding with. It was the first time I ever rode the bike tour with somebody that had another person that had MS, and Dave, yeah. Who will more than likely listen to this. He heard first off, it was his first time on the bike tour, and yeah. So I rode with him pretty much the whole way, and we get there, and then, you know, when you're kind of, there's all those tents and stuff, and where the burgers are on the outside, he kind of got a sense of how many people were there, but you don't really get a sense of it until you walk into the big hall for dinner. And yeah, just sure. His face was just like, holy cow. You know, because I think there was over 2,000 riders last year. And yeah. So we're sitting there eating dinner. You can kind of tell he's got a kind of bit of a bewildered look on his face. And then when you spoke, it really, really hit him. And he became visibly emotional. And and I thought the speech couldn't have been better. Where did that speech come from?
It just came from the heart, I guess, and wanting to really connect with people that have MS, because even though it's so different for everyone, it's just something that connects a lot of people, whether it's someone that has it or whether it's a caregiver or family member. It generally affects you on some level, whether you want it or not. And I don't know, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that they were there for the same reason, and that what they were doing was amazing, and that if we keep working together like this, that it is making a huge difference.
Yeah, one of the things that Dave said to me that night was he felt incredibly supported when he saw that many people, and and most of those people that ride, I mean, most of them don't have MS. I mean, when they ask all the MSers to go up on stage, it's a very small fraction of the whole audience, right? And that's always it. But I don't want to sound solemn, because that weekend's actually a lot of fun. So I don't want to make it sound like it's all
No, for sure.
So why don't you just talk about the weekend in general and what makes it such a great event?
Well, and this actually, when you said that, it kind of reminds me of my first bike tour. When I went to drop off all of my money and get my package and everything, there was a gentleman there, and he said, why do you get a red jersey? And I said, oh, well, because I have MS. And he looked at me and he's like, oh, I've ridden for, 10, 20 years, and I don't know anyone that has it. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, why are you here? You know what I mean? It was as silly as that sounds, but I just didn't think that there would be people that don't have a connection. And then he asked me what my name was, and took one of those who I'm riding for cards, and wrote my name down. And then while I was riding, and I saw it on the, I saw it, and it just, it was just something that just pushed me to keep riding, and I feel like that weekend is full of that. Like it's almost everywhere you look, because you see a red jersey and you see just people having fun, right? I mean, there's beer, there's a band, there's hamburgers, right? Like there's everything that makes it makes it fun for the average person, right? But everyone's there for the same reason, and the atmosphere is just overwhelming at times, because everyone's happy to be there, even though their butts are sore, and just smiling, and just
No, it's one of my favorite weekends of the year, and it's funny that my parents actually started doing the bike tour before I did. They did it a year before I started, and I'm I've got some, I don't know if they're issues or whatever. I don't know. When they first said they were doing it, I'm like, okay, like I understood, because I'm their son and they want to support me, and they were trying to, I think for them it was just, we can't cure them, so we want to do something. So they rode in the bike tour, which was really,
exactly. You don't want to do nothing.
Yeah. So my mom was never athletic. Like, I mean, she hates to sweat, and she never really started riding a bike until she was like 50, like 56, 57. She's 62 now. And she does it every year, so it's pretty crazy that way. And another thing that I'd never done until this past bike tour is when they call the MSers up on stage, I'd never go. I would just stay seated. And I can't tell you why I wouldn't go. This year I kind of had to, because I mean a lot of people knew who I was because of the run and that.
Yeah.
But I also, because it would look really, really bad if I didn't go up. And not only that, because Dave was there, and it was his first one, and he was having such an emotional time with it. I mean, I felt compelled to join in, but it's just funny. I mean, for them. Even some of these pub nights and that. I mean, I had never, until like the last 24 months, I'd never really had that much interaction with other people with MS. And, you when you were telling that story about that gentleman that approached you about the jersey, it reminded me of, like in April, I think it was early April, a TV crew came to my house to talk to me about the run, and I got a little blurb on one of the newscasts. And
I remember that.
There was 3 of them, but it was the first one. It was kind of early on.
Yeah.
And that night, I got like 4 emails from, I don't know, just random people, right? And one of the gentlemen asked if he could run in the really long run. He just wanted to help out, and it was just like.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I realized that there was going to be other people running. So it was just, I mean, it's such an amazing feeling when a random stranger says, "Hey, I'm going to support you." It's humbling, actually. And that's what makes that weekend so special. Sorry.
I think that kind of. It almost explains to why I got involved, because there are a lot of people that just have, don't really have any idea what MS is or what it can look like, and most of the time everybody pictures the worst case scenario, and I wanted to make sure that people. Not even just people with MS, but people dealing with any sort of kind of issue, know that their life isn't over, and that there's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of support that can make you keep going, and that's the thing is, sometimes when a random stranger or someone that probably doesn't have a lot of money to spare is still supporting you, it's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I can't like that weekend now. It's permanently on the calendar. My wife knows we're doing it. Her mom and dad know that they're taking the kids for 2 days. It's just on the calendar. And now, do you have any other from the bike tour? How many have you done now?
Yeah.
How many times you?
That would have been my 4th one.
Okay, and out of the 4 tours, do you have any memories that stand out that maybe aren't MS or mushy or anything? Just things that happened along. Because I mean, when you ride, 180 clicks over 2 days, I mean, things happen. So, is there any memories that stick out?
Well, my very first year, that was 2012. So that was what did they say? The worst second day that they've ever seen.
Oh, I was on the. I put my bike on the truck that day.
Yeah, so I this is my first year ever riding, so I'd pull out of there in shorts and a little rain jacket, and I was completely frozen, and I wouldn't stop at the first checkpoint, and I was riding completely alone. Finally pulled in at the second checkpoint.
So sorry, were you on a team? Or you just went in by yourself?
I was completely alone.
Oh, that's amazing. Sorry,
I didn't know anyone.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's amazing. You just decided, hey, I'm going to just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know anyone. And, I just thought, I'll just do it. And, yeah, so that second day, I think I got to the lunch point when I got blown over by the wind.
Mm-hmm.
and ended up just in the ditch. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go warm up. And when I got in there, the first aid people were like, do you have anyone that you can call? And I was like, why? And they're like, you need to take everything off. And they ended up, I think, taking a pan from bread or something, emptying it out, filling it with water, and like completely covering me up because my lips were blue. And
that was a
my
rough
dad,
day.
and I was like, Dad, can you bring me my spare shoes and my spare clothes? I want to keep riding. And he came, and he literally had 3 pairs of sweatpants and hoodies, and was like, you need to get in the car. And it almost broke my heart because, I wanted to do the whole thing. I wanted to prove that I could do this, right? And my first year, I couldn't do it. So that kind of drove me to keep coming back, that's for sure. But it was something too, like that I saw these people riding through this because, they had the proper gear, so they could make it. And really, no one was forcing them to.
No.
It was just...
No, they don't even keep track of who finishes and who doesn't.
No, exactly.
So, no, that year with that weather, I know we got to that curling rink because that's where lunch was. And I was with my mom, who was miserable, and my uncle, who was miserable, and they said, we're gonna stop, and I was waiting for them because the wind was so. You remember the wind that day? There was times when.
Oh yeah.
You're riding and you're pushing so hard, but you're probably only going like seriously 10 kilometers an hour, if that. Because.
Oh yeah, like I honestly, when I stopped at the second checkpoint, I looked at the map, and I was like, okay, if I pedal 16 kilometers an hour. It's 16 kilometers to the lunch. So I'll get there in an hour, and that was the only thing keeping me going.
And like last year, there's only 2 bike tours that I've been in that I haven't finished, and there was that one, and last year, and last year I didn't finish when we got to the school, because I mean obviously I'd done that big run 2 weeks previous, right? And I wasn't healed. I mean, I wasn't anywhere close to it, but there was a pretty nasty headwind that day too. And
yes.
So we stopped at lunch, and I looked at my wife and I go, you know what? I'm good. And she's like, you're not going to finish? I'm like, no. And she's like, God, you have to finish. I'm like, look, I've done enough this year. I'm good. I'm not good.
Yeah.
And then when I got to, we got a ride with one of the trucks, and when we got to the finish line, I think I ran into Paula, Tyler, and Jen at the finish line. And they're like, well, when did you finish? And I looked at them like, I didn't finish. I stopped at the school. I'm good. They just all kind of gave me a look, and then I kind of gave them a look back, and they kind of went, oh, yeah, but all right. But, so there's 2 that I haven't finished. And actually, I've only been doing it a year longer than you. So I would have started in 2011, yeah.
Okay.
But, is there, now, bike tour is great, and I just want you to know, I think that, as far as spokespeople go, they couldn't have picked a better one. Honestly, Patricia, that speech you gave last year was spot on. And
I know I laugh now because I'm like, well, now what am I going to do next year?
Yeah. Well, I think you just got to take a different approach, maybe. Just come at it from a different angle.
Make it funny this year.
Yeah, because you hit an emotional crescendo last year. I don't think you can. If you can top that emotionally, let me know, because I don't want to be sitting in there because I'll be bawling like a 4-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me the heads up.
I'll keep you posted.
But we've been at it for 30 minutes now, and so we'll wind it down. But before we wrap up, what do you want to say to other people with MS?
Well, like I said in my speech, you're not alone. So, if there's ever a moment in your life where you feel alone, please call me. Because I definitely think that there's so many people that have MS that are incredibly, incredibly inspiring all over the world. And, they would be there for you in a heartbeat. So that was definitely one thing. Another thing is just don't give up. Don't give up on anything, because I feel like you can definitely find a way. There is so many people out there that will support you, and things are changing, and I think that's why a lot of us are doing what we're doing, so that it can change. So just keep your head up.
And last thing, you had mentioned to me one of the times I've seen you in person over the summer. You had said you were thinking of running a little bit next year.
Absolutely.
How far are you thinking about going?
Okay, well, so my boyfriend and I have committed to training for, I think, the EPS half.
Okay.
So probably, I honestly would love to do the whole thing, and that's kind of what I'm going to aim for, but I'm going to say at least half.
Cool. No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, there's 2 people running with me this year the whole way, but they don't have MS.
Yeah.
So if they make it faster than me, I have an excuse. But Christy and Jen Ferentz have said that they're, well, at least that's my understanding. I mean, if they don't, I understand.
Yeah.
But no, that'd be great to have you and join us.
Sure.
Now, before I let you go, if people want to find you on social media, they want to find the bike tour, they want information, do you have any coordinates you want to give people?
Sorry?
If people want to find you on social media, if they want to find the bike tour, any website information, Twitter, Facebook, anything you want to, any coordinates you want to give to people?
Oh, sure. So my Twitter handle is, it's basically how my last name sounds. So it's JAHOOFKA. And then you can find me on Facebook at Patrycia, which is PATRYCIA. And last name is RZECHOWKA. And usually, like on my Twitter or Facebook, there's links to whatever crazy project I'm up to. So definitely feel free to add me, send me a message, follow me, tweet at me. I will definitely respond.
That's perfect, and I'm holding you to 21K then. I'm holding you.
Absolutely, that I will. At least that.
Now, one last question I have to ask you. You and I were at the Dinner of Champions for the bike tour the other night, and we both got an award for fundraising. Do you find that it's kind of a glass thing? Do you find that it's like unreal with fingerprints? Like anytime you touch that thing, it feels.
Oh yeah.
Like when
it's like you kind of Windex it and then it goes on the shelf and then never again.
Yeah, my kids get anywhere near. I'm like, no, like. Well, A, because I don't want them to break it, but the other thing is it picks up fingerprints like no one's business. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Patricia, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. I know
No problem. I'm so happy I could finally do it.
Well, you were renovating a house. You're busy. I get it. It's. I'm just happy that whenever a guest actually confirms with me, I'm ecstatic. So.
Yeah.
But no, thanks again, and we'll be in touch over the next few months, I'm sure.
Yeah, sounds great.
So that's it. That's the final episode of YEGMS for 2016. I just want to thank Patricia again for taking time out of her busy schedule to talk with me. I think when other MSYers hear stories, and especially stories powerful like hers, I think it's a help to everyone. It makes people feel like they're connected and they have they're part of a larger community. And amazingly enough, and we shouldn't have hung up when we did, but something that Patricia shared with me after I stopped recording is she's actually going back to boxing, which is phenomenal. I made the joke that, do you really think that somebody with a neurological disorder should be taking hits to the head? But she's checked with her doctor. She knows what she's doing. And those are the kind of stories that resonate with me, because I think, for people in our community, we have to remember it changes the way you approach life, but it doesn't have to change your life. And I think that Patricia's a powerful example of that. The fact that she rode in her first bike tour without even having a team, she just raised money and rode. That takes true courage. And for her to go back to boxing again, very courageous person. And I meant what I said. I don't think they could have picked a better spokesperson for the Johnson MS bike. I think she's a wonderful role model for myself and for everyone in our community. So, Patricia, thank you again for taking time out to do this, and it's much appreciated. A few changes will be coming to the podcast starting in January. I've started publishing the first 9 episodes on YouTube, and that was at the behest of my volunteer trainer, Chris down at Blitz Conditioning. It's just trying to find different venues and different avenues to get as much exposure for the podcast as possible. So one of the things that once I put the first 10 episodes up on YouTube, starting in January, and there will also be a video. I'll still be doing the audio podcast as normal, except for when I do them in January. I'll also have the camera rolling, and there will be a video version on YouTube. I don't know how it'll go. I'm certainly not the most photogenic person that ever walked the face of the planet, but it's a crazy age that we live in. That basically anybody who wants to have their own radio show and has an internet connection can do it. Anybody who wants to make their own show and post like a TV type show and post online can do it. So it's pretty cool. The internet has really become what cable access was when I was in my teenage years, where a bunch of guys can get together and just make a TV show, and who knows who will watch it, but it's our time. So anyway, so to wind this down, I just want to wish everyone out there that listens to this a happy holiday season, a happy new year. Depending on your religious affiliation, if you have one, I wish you a happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I guess where the term Yule comes from is that was a pagan festival. So if you're in that, if it's what's the Hindu one? Pancha Ganapati. Well, I'm reading, so if I butchered that, I apologize to people listening. But anyway, if anyone, whatever your religion is, and whatever your end of the year festival is, have a happy one. Have a Merry New Year. Have a Happy New Year. And lastly, I should mention, if anyone out there wants to get a hold of me, you can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at ownms.com1. That's OWNMSDOTCOM and the number 1. You can email me at sean@ownmultiplesclerosis.com. You can search for Own Multiple Sclerosis on Facebook. You can search for The Really Long Run to End MS on Facebook. You can visit my blog, my personal blog at ownmultiplesclerosis.com. That's OWN multiplesclerosis.com. And you can also visit really long run to endms.ca. So if anyone wants to get a hold of me, would like to be a guest on the show, wants to join my bike team, hint hint, please reach out to me. But anyway, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. We'll talk to you in 2016.